recording.
All right. Wow, intro to program. Okay, go.
All right, this is our agenda for today, and then we listed a few things we're going to be teaching you guys today, starting from the really basics, like what programming is.
Yeah, fundamentals.
My mom just called on me. Give me 1 second.
All right, while Eric's gone, I'll just take over. So we're just going to learn why you should learn Python or programming in general. It pays well and stuff. Eric, I just took over. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you guys probably read this. You guys are not blind. Like, this is just what we're going to go over. So, okay.
So what is programming? It's basically the process of telling a computer to do certain things by giving it instructions, right? And then these instructions are basically the code you write. And the collection of these instructions are called a program. There are many different languages you can do programming in, including Java, Python, C++, and many others. But we're going to be teaching you guys Python because it's the most easiest to learn and most effective language.
And also, please type in the chat if you don't have any programming experience at all. Like, you don't even know like what programming is. Like, never typed a line of code before. Like hour of code stuff in elementary school doesn't count. Like real code, like not block code. So if you don't have any experience with code, can you just type in the chat so we just know to go slow and stuff, and like just to watch out, and not go too fast, because I had that happen to me before and it's not fun. So yeah, if you have no experience,
just feel free to type it in the chat.
Yeah, or you can just unmute yourself and just ask us. I mean, we have plenty of time. So if you guys have any questions, you can always ask. All right, Daniel, I know you have no programming experience. Okay. Well, and are there anybody else that
I have a question.
Yes.
What makes a programming language easy to learn?
Syntax is really easy. We'll go over that in the next slide. Yeah.
I guess that'd make it easier.
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing it's only Daniel, so everybody else programmed a little before? All right, cool. Okay, next slide. I keep forgetting. Okay, next slide. So, why are we learning Python? Why Python? Why couldn't we do Java or C++? Well, first off, in our school CHS, except David, because you don't go to CHS, but in our school at least, our computer science courses, we teach Java. And Java is a good language. It's the most popular language right now, currently in 2020. But Python's catching up. It's going to be the most popular language soon, and it's good because, as I said to Aiden earlier, it's really easy and simple to learn. Syntax is not that hard. You have if you've done Java or JavaScript or anything like that, and C, you have to do weird brackets, curly brackets, semicolons. But Python, you don't have to do any of that. It's pretty much like English. But the one thing you're gonna have to worry about in Python, I mean, not yet, but in the future, is spacing. So tabbing and indenting and stuff, because that's pretty important. Another thing about Python is it's a very powerful language for very small investments. So it's basically a really low learning curve. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys, like Daniel, you guys don't have programming experience. So this should be easy to learn technically because it's the easiest language to learn. It's just there. It's just out there. It's so many articles to say Python's the easiest to learn. And it's also really useful in many fields. It doesn't have to be comp-sci too, but business. But usually comp-sci fields use Python a lot. So data science, AI if you're interested in that, machine learning, which is pretty much AI. Again, as I said, business and back-end web development, if you know what that is. It's basically if you look at websites, and then you see their interface, it's basically what goes on behind that, behind the scene. And yeah, they all pay well. So we're just gonna go over some cool jobs, career, salary, all that kind of stuff. Incentives for you guys to actually commit to programming. So right now in 2020, there's a very high and growing demand for any software, any person who knows how to program, really. Data scientists, software engineers, a machine learning professional, everybody. And you can see their salaries, they pay really, really well. I mean, it's not that much. It's not like a successful business person or anything, but it still pays really well. And just having programming under your belt can also benefit you in other STEM fields. So if you want to be a doctor or something, you can use it to like analyze patient data, which is really helpful because you can do it really fast. Or if you want to be a businessman, you can write Python scripts to automate like stock trading, or you can write to calculate or estimate, predict stock like drops or rises, whatever. And if you're really good at programming and you like pursue this and go to good college and stuff, you can actually manage to get a job at Fame. Even though most of these companies are in California, I mean, if you do well here, you're probably going to work for the government. But if you decide to go to California one day and like you go to like UCLA or Stanford, and then you do well, then you can go into Fame, which is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. These are like the big tech companies. Of course, there are other things, but this is just like Fame. It's just the poster place of all of programming jobs. So yeah, programming is good.
And so IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's basically an application that provides necessary tools for programming development and testing. And there are like many different IDEs for different languages. For Python, we mainly use PyCharm, IDLE, Visual Studio Code, or Eclipse. And then, like for the sake of Pioneers, we're going to be having you guys use Replit, which is like a web-based IDE. Because it's like easy to access and use, and it has a multiplayer mode, so like can make it convenient for us to teach you guys.
Right. IDEs are pretty much, think of it like as paper, like when you're doing like your homework. It's just paper. It's what you code on. So right now we're gonna ask all of you guys to go ahead and make Replit accounts. So it's really easy. I'll help you guys.
You can share your screen.
Oh yeah. So let me actually just give me a second. I will send you guys.
I mean, do all you guys know what Replit is?
I'm pretty sure like at least half the people here don't know what Replit is. I mean, actually, some CSP people did it, but if you click on this link, it should take you to Replit. Use your email or whatever they ask you to use, and then go ahead and create an account. And we'll give you guys some class to go ahead and do that. I mean, some time. I cannot think. Yeah, we'll give you guys some time to go ahead and do that. And then if you're done creating an account, just type it in the chat so I know. And we're not here waiting all day. Alright, cool, Siraj. Alright.
People's finished.
I'll wait until everybody types that they're done.
You can ask Daeyong to share a screen. You can teach you.
If you guys are confused, then we can always help you. So we'll just wait for now. Bruh.
Sean.
Yeah, welcome, Sean. So, if you guys are curious, this is what Replit's interface looks like. So, you see here, this is my Replit interface. And for those who already have their Replit account set up, actually, I'll wait until everybody has it set up so that I don't like.
Once you guys are finished, just type it in the chat. So
yeah, please type it in the chat because I don't want to waste time. Alright, cool. So David's done, Siraj is done, Tyler's done, Emil's done. Okay. Does that mean done, Daniel, or are you just high? Okay, he's done. Okay, we have some other people that we need to wait for. So, well, Andy, you don't need to make one. We're waiting for Abner and Andrew and Aiden. And as soon as you guys are done. No, it's not Daniel Chen. Yeah, okay, Andrew's done. So, Abner and Aiden, if you guys can make your accounts and type it in the chat, that'd be phenomenal. So we can continue. Okay, Aiden. We're waiting on Aiden. Alright. Aiden, are you like stuck or something? You need help? Or are you good?
Or should we move on without you?
Yeah, can you type something in the chat so we know like you're still alive?
I'm fine, I'm just accidentally set the password as some random bunch of letters.
Alright, we'll wait. Just hurry up and get it done so you don't waste everybody else's
It's a rip.
Yeah. And also, the other IDEs, like we mentioned, PyCharm IDLE. IDLE is exclusive for Mac, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But yeah, PyCharm and VS Code, Eclipse. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys already use Eclipse if you know Java, but PyCharm and VS Code. Maybe later, maybe down the road, we'll have you guys download these from online. But that's like a far time ahead. For right now, Replit should do. I mean, it's really convenient, multiplayer and everything. It's online, easy to access. So yeah, Replit's just convenient, and that's why we're using it. And also in the future, if you decide to code like these IDEs, they have really good features. Like some of them have debugging like features, so like you can actually like they help you debug your code, which is what usually programmers find.
And you'll be talking about the debug console in the next slide, right?
Yeah. Well, debug mode and debug console are two different things. Yeah. Aiden, are you done yet, or are you still trying to make one? All right.
I'm working on it.
Okay, cool. You guys can do some really cool stuff with Python once you learn it. If you checked our website out, we have some pretty fun, cool examples of what we use Python to do. Yeah. And like, if some of you guys follow my new Instagram, you guys saw that I actually coded a Python script, so it orders pizza for me. So if I run it once, it literally just orders pizza from Pizza Hut. And I did it all without. I mean, I was inspired by watching a YouTube video, but I didn't actually like copy anything off of YouTube. So, if you guys want to do something like that, then hit me up. I can teach you. But you have to know fundamentals first. So, yeah, it's really fun to do. Like you can go data scraping, and it's a lot of fun. It's not that hard. It's literally not that hard. It's so easy.
Okay.
You good, Aiden?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Great.
Move on, then.
So, all right, sorry for the wait, guys. So, if you go into your Replit interface, this is what it should look like, or something similar. And on the top right, there's new REPL. So that's how you make a new REPL, or basically a new file for your code. So, for everybody's following along, you guys can, or actually, no, watch me first, and then you guys can do it yourself. So you're gonna click on this blue button that says plus new REPL. You're gonna click on that, and then it's gonna load up this page. So GitHub, if you guys know what that is, don't worry about it. But for here, we're gonna, there's Python, Java, all these useless language. I'm just kidding, alright. But we're gonna do Python, and then they give you a random name, but we don't like it. You guys can name it whatever you want. Like you guys can name it like tests or something. I'm just gonna name it test repo. And then once you guys do that, you don't upgrade your account. They're gonna ask you sometimes if you want to pay to upgrade. Don't do it. Then you're gonna create your REPL, and it's gonna stay created, and it should take you to the Replit page. So, and then we'll explain this in the next slide. But I just want you guys to have this open and ready. So if you guys are done, why don't you guys actually go ahead and do it right now? And then once you guys are done loading this page up, then please type in the chat, and then we'll continue after that. Good job, Siraj. Good job, David. All right, cool. That's David, Siraj, Amner, and Daniel, Tyler.
Are we waiting on Aiden again?
Yeah, Aiden and Emil, and Andrew. Yeah. Andrew's done, so Aiden and Emil, if you guys can get it done, that'll be great. Yeah, we're very proud of you, Tyler. We're so proud of you. Okay, Emil's done. Aiden.
Wait, what are we supposed to do?
Okay, so.
Sorry.
All right. So, let me do that again. So Aiden, are you on this page? Like your home?
I already made one of the REPL things.
Did you already make a REPL, or are you in the REPL interface?
I made one.
Oh, you made one. So you
Do you have that page open?
What?
So I'm assuming it looks like this, right? Wait, give me a second. So does it look like this for you, Aiden?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're done. Okay, you're done. All right, we'll continue now. All right, thanks for the wait, guys. All right, slow computer. All right. So next is Debug Console. So if you guys will look at your interface, we have three major portions. First portion is this skinny white part. Second portion is this big white part, and then third portion is big black part. So the Debug Console is the big black part, and it's a very useful tool that programmers use a lot because it's useful. Like, trust me, I do a lot of competitive, not a lot. I do competitive programming, and if without the Debug Console, it's pretty much impossible. And print statements, which we'll talk about in the next slide, are going to be what we use to print stuff out. And if you've done any programming at all, you guys should know what these print statements are. Like, it's like the first thing you learn. But if you don't, it's okay. We'll teach you. Debug Console can be used for other practical purposes, like, debugging your program, because it's called the Debug Console for a reason. But for now, we're just going to be using it to teach Python fundamentals and basics. So as I said earlier, this black part is a part they call the Debug Console. This white part here is where you write your code. This is the part where you write your code and you can save it and stuff. Replit autosaves, but I don't think other things do, so other IDEs. And this is just the files. Don't worry about these files too much for now. We'll talk about them in the future. But yeah, all you guys need to know for now is this is a Debug Console, which is like pretty much the quote-unquote output area. And this is where you type your code in. And this is just another IDE. I think it's PyCharm or something. But in other IDEs, they might look different. So this is actually the part where they type their code in. And this is actually going to be the part called the Debug Console. And yeah, different IDEs have different interfaces. So hope you guys understood that. And then we're going to continue.
So first thing we're going to do is the print statement. So it's basically print, and then whatever you type inside the parentheses shows up on the Debug Console. And then what's inside the parentheses is actually called a parameter of the function. And then, yeah, if you guys want to like try it out in Replit, you guys can like type hello world. You guys probably done this in like Java before, but like in Python, the syntax for this is just print parentheses.
You have to do system.out.print. It's too long.
And then make sure if you guys are doing a string, it's in parentheses and quotation marks, single or double.
Right.
Doesn't
So
really matter.
I'll demonstrate. So if you go on your replets, so basically this is line 1. This is where we're going to type our first line of code. So we're just going to do print, like print, and then we're going to use a parentheses. And it automatically does a second parentheses. It's just a cool thing IDEs do. And then we're going to type in here. But before you type, we're going to open up quotations. It doesn't really matter if you use single or double quotes, as long as you stay consistent with them. So I prefer using double quotes. I don't know why, but usually good programmers like doing single quotes because it's easier. But I'm a bad programmer, so I use double quotes. But yeah, you guys can use single quotes. It's going to be good. And then you're going to type hello world. And then that's going to print hello world. I'll run it soon. But make sure you guys have it in parentheses, in quotes, because if you don't, oh my, I messed that up.
This is another reason like why Python is like really simple. Like,
yeah, if you guys don't put in quotes, it's gonna give you an error here, and it says invalid syntax, which means you did something wrong. So here we use quotes, here we didn't. So if we're gonna print something, for now, just remember we always use quotes, and then with these parentheses. So if you run this program, if everybody can watch this on Debug Console, you're going to press run, and it's going to take a while. And there you go. Hello world. That's our first line of code. So, again, when you guys are done, please type done in the chat, and we'll move on after everybody's done.
it's probably pretty simple.
Yeah, it's very simple. All right, Siraj is done. Abner is done.
Yeah, just move
done.
on. They're probably all finished.
Emil says die. Okay. All right. Andrew is done. Yes, Siraj. All you need to know is print, and then you can retire now. All right. Is anybody not done? The thing went too fast, so I think everybody's done at this point.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, printing is pretty easy. So we're gonna continue. Data types. So this is my slide. So data type. This is where coding kind of gets a little confusing because for us it's English. Everything's English. Like 1, 2, 3. I mean they're considered numbers, but all right. So Python, we have 4 primitive data types, and primitive means basic, right? Like think of like primal, like primates, like very basic, kind of dumb. Like they're just there. They're basic. Python has 4 of them. And if you see here, this is just the very not official definition from Google. I mean, not Google. But it says data type. I know it's Google. A particular kind of data item as defined by the values it can take, the programming language used, or the operation that can be performed on it. Yeah, I don't even understand that. So, integers are integers. Wow. It can be 1, 0, negative numbers. It can be anything. And if you come from a Java background or JavaScript background, I don't know if JavaScript actually has that, but at least for a Java background, you guys have longs and doubles or whatever, just depending on the size of the integer. But in Python, you don't have to worry about that. Integers just cover everything. So yeah, if you want to use numbers, they're called integers. Floats are decimals. So any number that has any like decimal point, like a dot, like a period, called a float. So 1.01 or like a negative number, or you can even have a 0 after it. It still counts as a float because it has the decimal point. So that's what a float is. So again, integers are just integers. Floats are decimals. I don't know why they call them floats, probably because it's a floating point. Yeah. And strings are what we did, like hello world. So any sequence of any character whatsoever surrounded by quotation marks. So you can literally, it can be any character. It can be a space. It can be a hello world. It can be a minus sign. It can be a star. Anything surrounded by quotation marks is a string. And if you guys see here, it doesn't really matter if I use double quotes or single quotes or not. In other languages, it actually matters sometimes. Like in C, in Java, single quotes, you have to use single quotes if you're going to declare characters. Characters don't exist in Python. It's just a string. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's personal preference. I prefer doubles. You guys can do singles. It's easier to do singles. I don't know why I do doubles. I think I like torturing myself or something. But yeah, as you can see here, if you guys are around numbers with quotation marks, they're also counted as strings. So yeah. And then Booleans are just true and false. And you guys don't need to worry about these too much for now, but just know that they exist. So if you guys know some electrical engineering, and you guys know what like a transistor does, like it either turns something on or off. So it's like the state of what it is right now. Think of it as like a light switch, right? True is like the light being on, false is the light being off. It's like, is it true or false? And it's not, that's a Boolean. So these are just the 4 data types. So, and then this type function that we're going to do in the next slide can determine, or actually, not next slide, this slide, I'll just teach you guys now. So this type function can help determine what data type of variable is. So actually what we're going to do now is, okay, we're going to go to replit again. And then we're going to, actually let's just keep it there. And then we're going to, in the next one, we're going to declare a variable, I guess. Which you'll learn soon. Don't worry about this. I'm just going to call it A. Don't worry about this. But I'm going to type something here. So
like, notice that you don't have to type like an in front of the A. It's like,
yeah, we'll go over that later. So what data type is that? Type in the chat if you know, because it's a very difficult question. Yeah, type it in the chat. Pi? It's not pi. Pi is not a data type. It's not a variable. It is an integer. This is called an integer.
Good job, David.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, this A might be a little confusing. So, yeah, 16 or 17, these are integers. So, can you guys also tell me then what this is? Do you guys know what that is? The data type for that? String. Correct. All right, because that has quotation marks around it. What about, let's do this. What is that? Correct, it's a float, because it's decimal. What about this? What is that? It's not true. Oh, okay, guys. All right. You guys don't need to insult me like that. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, yeah. Hopefully, you guys know it's a string. Yeah. It doesn't matter again if you use outputs or not. And booleans in Python, in Java and stuff, you do lowercase. But in Python, you have to capitalize true and capitalize false. Oh, my bad. So these are booleans. You see how they turn blue because they're booleans. But yeah, these are data types. I think you guys have a pretty good, concept of them. And so type function, pretty much. Again, can somebody tell me what this part function is called? If anybody knows programming, parameter, right? This is what we call parameter. It's just programming language. It's just how programmers talk about stuff. Wow. Okay, cool, David. So this type thing, whatever you put in here, it'll return the type of that. So, let's type in I don't know, this is an integer, right? Because it returns it, we're just gonna print this. I think that should work. I haven't really tried this so much, but yeah. So it prints class int because it's an integer. Let's try something else. Let's try Eric. So that should return string because it's a string. Yeah, str, it's a string. And then we can try let's try a float. We'll do 0.0. That's a float. And then boolean, bool. So this is how you determine the types of whatever is in here. You guys don't need to really do this. As long as you guys understand what the data types are and the differences, you're good. So we're gonna move on to the next slide. So these are variables. This is also a confusing part in programming if you never tried it before. So variables, in the simplest term, they store data. They can also be named anything you want, but it should follow this camel casing convention, which is, as you can see here, the first letter is always lowercase, it's always lowercase, and then the next word of it, the starting letter of the next word is capitalized. So if you see your camel and casing are two different words, but then you put them together and then you capitalize the first letter of the second word, and that's camel casing. So, and here's a nice image of a camel. So it's better than Python. It's false, but yeah. So if you can see here, I capitalize B, capitalize T, capitalize P. So that's camel casing. This is conventional. You don't have to do it, but it's better for other programmers. It's better for their eyes if you do it like that because it's easier to read. And it saves lines and stuff. So yeah, that's camel casing. So it's better if you guys do that. And then it can't be keywords like true or false. If you name a variable true, it's not going to work out very well for you. And you can't put in spaces or special characters. So you can't use a and or at symbol in your variable. You can't put in spaces in it. It has to be all one line. And that's why we use camel casing, just to represent spaces. And also you guys should give them meaningful names. Pi, which is pie. And the best club, which is Pioneers. Java is better than Python. Num brain cells. Stuff meaningful things. If I did A, B, C, D, nobody's gonna know what they mean. Especially if I'm reading your code. So it's better if you always name them something that's actually meaningful. So we're gonna go to declaring variables. So unlike other programming languages like Java, declaring a variable in Python is very easy. So you don't have to do the weird int whatever. You have to actually declare the data type of the thing. Python does it for you, which is really cool. So here we have a variable called num, and we're gonna assign 15 to it. There you go. We just made a variable. Here we have a variable called club name, and it's camel cased, as you can see. And we're gonna call it CHS Pioneers. That is a string. So this data type is now a string data type. And here we have pi, which is a float, and existence of unicorns, which is false. And then I should have capitalized that. My bad. I came from a Java background a little bit. So
yeah, you should.
That should be capitalized. I made a mistake. Doesn't matter. All right. And then Python automatically differentiates the data type, as I previously mentioned. So if you put in 15, it knows that it's an integer. So we'll try that again. So we're not exit full screen. So everybody can try something like this too. Oh no, spoilers. Yeah. Okay, so if you go interpolate again, so we're gonna make a variable. We're gonna name it A. No, we're not gonna name it A. A is a terrible name. So we're gonna name it I don't know. Someone give me a variable name. I'm not creative. Somebody give me a variable name, please. Anybody, anything. Pepeg, sure. I don't even know what that is. And then Chigbungus. Okay. That autofilled. Let's just use Chigbungus. Sure. And then we're gonna, assign a number. Let's do 78. And also Python, you don't have to do semicolons after. It's just this. It's regular math. I'll make a variable. Water bottle, it's camel case, equals water bottle. Okay. Then one more variable. We're gonna call it Eric IQ.
One more. It's like $200.
0.0. Oh yeah, good idea, Saras. Thank you. Negative 5.0. That is a slash. Alright. So yeah. We have variables now. These are how we made variables. And then we're gonna just print them. So when you print variables, you can just type the variable's name inside the parameter. So this should, what the heck? Oh yeah, my computer's really slow, I'm sorry. I have a lot of tabs open, so. I cannot type water. Okay, so these should print out the variables. So if you see in the Debug Console, 78, a water bottle, and negative 5.0. So, yeah, these are how you declare and print out variables. So, if everybody can try this out, and if you guys are done trying it out, can you guys type done in the chat again? This is pretty important stuff. I want to make sure everybody has a good grip on it. Alright, 4 people are done. 5 people are done. 6 people. Who are we waiting on? We're waiting on Daniel. I think Daniel, right? Is that? And Daniel's done. Is there anybody else who needs more time? I don't think so. Okay, Aiden. Okay, cool. We're done. Okay, next. Concatenation. So concatenation is pretty much just combining two things together, right? It's just process of joining two or more strings together. And it's used commonly in print statements. It can also be used in other things. So syntax for concatenation is basically you add one value to another. So use a plus. So here we have I like, which is a string, because you can tell by the quotation marks. My favorite food, which should be a string, and then you add them together, and then it'll make I like whatever your favorite food is. And then here we have quotations rice, which is a string, and kimchi, which is also a string. And we're concatenating them into one thing. And here's a really good example. I think perhaps the world's best the world's best programmer ever. He very well depicts the concept of concatenation. Right, you got an apple and you got a pen, and you combine it's an apple pen. That's concatenation. It's literally just that. And it only works for strings. So don't even try adding a 9 or an integer to the thing, because that's going to give you a type error. And data type casting can be used to resolve this issue. And data type casting, we'll go over that in the next slide. But for now, we need to practice concatenation. So we're going to go to replit. And then we're going to delete all this. Let's see. We're going to make a variable. We're going to call it name. And we're going to set that equal to Eric. Okay? And then we're going to make a variable called statement. And then we're going to set the statement equal to perhaps another string. Is kinda dumb. Oh, whoops.
Bro, don't actually... Okay.
Alright, yeah. No complaints, right? So, and then we're going to just print this. So we're gonna print name, which is Eric, plus, and actually, yeah, this is not how you should do it, but I'm just gonna do it just so you guys can see me mess up. So if I do this, right, it like doesn't space here because I don't have a space at the end of this or beginning of this. There are 3 ways to fix this. Either you make a space here so that, it's part of the thing. Eric is kind of dumb. Or you add a space here, pretty much the same thing. Or if you want to be smarter, you can add a blank string here with 1 space in between, and then concatenate that to both things in between. So that'll give you Eric is kind of the same thing. It just works. Right, yeah, I know. It's really big brain. You can also, I think you can do it in variables too. So I can just do sentence. I'm going to declare a variable called sentence. I'm just going to type Eric is dumb. And I think this should work too. Never tried it before. It's kind of not that intuitive. Oh my gosh. This is embarrassing. Okay, and then hopefully this works. Yeah, it works. So you guys can concatenate anytime you want. So if you guys understood this concept and tried, experimented with it and stuff. Well, actually, one more thing. I'll show you guys me messing up again. We'll actually just fix sentence. Eric, make the variable space variable. Yeah, you can do that too, but I mean, you rarely need to do that. So we're gonna do Eric plus, or actually, Eric's IQ is, and then let's say -5, right? So that's an integer. So this is not going to work. It's going to give us an error. It should give us an error, I think. It's not even running. Hello? Replit. Yeah, it's not even running. Yeah, that's odd. But that's because it's not a string. It doesn't work. It can't concatenate a string to an integer. So in order to resolve that, we'll go into typecasting. So hashtag stop Eric abuse. Alright, so if everybody is done experimenting with concatenation and has a good idea of what it does, can everybody type done in the chat so that, I know you guys are done with concatenation? Alright, most people are done. We're waiting on Daniel again. You done, Daniel? Are you done? Alright, we're gonna move on now. I think everybody's done. Okay. So,
now we're gonna introduce typecasting. It's basically changing one data type to another. And so, like, let's say you have an integer of 1. You can cast it to a string just cause. And then if a float is, let's say you have a float of like 45.928, it can be casted into a string. And then, and then typecasting syntax. If you want to convert to an integer, you just do int parentheses. And then you put in whatever you want to typecast to inside the parentheses. But like, keep in mind, it doesn't work for like everything. Like, there's some instances where you can't typecast from one data type to another. And then Daeyong's gonna show you like an example.
I never said I was gonna show you. Okay, whatever. I'll do it. Okay, so yeah, this is an example. I'll do some of my own later, but if you see here, we have a. I mean, you guys don't need to do this, but this is more intuitive type. So, a string number. You know what? This example sucks. I don't even know why I did it. All right, I'll do.
Just open Replit and show.
Yeah. All right.
You had an example down before, right?
Yeah, I know. So we're gonna just make the variable called num. We're gonna set it equal to 5. And I won't use Eric this time because you guys made a petition and did a lot of hashtags. So I'll be nice. Then we're gonna make a variable called sentence. And we're gonna set that equal to my number is. And then if we were to try this, right? If we were to do that, it won't work because This is not a... Yeah, it finally gives us an error. Can only concatenate string, not int, to string. That's saying, it's complaining that this is a integer. You cannot add an integer to a string. So, can anybody give me a suggestion to how to fix it? I'll go back to the slides.
You guys type cat 5 and 2 in string.
Yeah, Aiden, you can ask the question. You guys can always unmute too. If you...
So, if I'm correct, like, the coding that I was taught for my coding class is JavaScript, and like we would never have to convert like an integer to a string to put it into a string. You can just put it in there. So I guess that's something that is more complex in Python.
Yeah. So if you're just gonna you can this is called commenting. So I'll teach you guys commenting real quick. So if you put a hashtag in front of a line, that basically just deletes it, but doesn't delete it. So you can just do this if you just want to like test for something. Like, but I'll do that. So you can actually print integers too, I think. So yeah, it prints. But the problem that happens is if you're trying to print a string and like integer together, that doesn't work. So again, here we can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So, anybody have a suggestion on how I should fix this other than error? Because you already know. Kids, look at this part. Anybody has a suggestion? They can type it in the chat.
Someone's trying to talk right now.
Oh.
Alright, what's that thing? Print, and then it's like Daeyong sounds like he is plus string and then number.
Yeah. So print parentheses and then whatever you want to put in. Yeah, it is right. You do str num, because here, typecasting, right? Str parentheses. So, let's see here. So we're going to do Aiden. So we're going to do str and then typecast it. And by the way, you have to make sure you do the right number of parentheses. So we have 2 opening parentheses and we only have 1 closing. So we have to add another parentheses here. What that does, we have a string here, and we have an integer. But we're going to cast it into a string, which means we're going to change it into a string. So now we're adding a string to a string. It's like Apple Pen. And now it should run. My number is 5. So that's something pretty cool. Anybody has questions now? You guys can ask. No questions? And Emil, did I answer your question or no?
I was answering your question.
I can't hear you that well.
I was answering your question.
Oh, you were answering my question? Oh, I did not hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. If you answered, then you're right. My bad. And Suraj, you can also redefine variable that way. Yeah, you could. So we'll do that here. Instead of doing this, we'll just type num again. And then if we did num, or...
You can do num, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Num equals, and then we'll do str num. So that's saying num is now actually going to be the string version of num. So this is redefining the variable, right? Yeah, Suraj, you're right. You're exactly right. And then this should work. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of like, think of a variable as like a little container, right? You're putting stuff in the container, you can switch it out, you can convert stuff into the container. So yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
Nice knowledge.
Continue in like 5 seconds. Nobody has questions. Alright, seems like everybody's good. Alright, we're gonna continue now. So hopefully you guys understood that. Again, if you guys have questions, always feel free to unmute and speak up. Alright. That's your slide.
So now we're going over math operators. So let's say you want to like do simple math, like you want to add, subtract, or anything. You would use these. And so in Python, here are the most basic ones. There's addition, which is just add. Subtraction, which is the minus. Multiplication, that's going to be the star above 8. And then there's division. And there's also modulus division, which is different than division. So it returns the remainder of something. So let's say you do 10 divided by 3. It would equal 1. It wouldn't be 3 because you don't take the decimal, you take the remainder, which is different. And then there's also exponential, which is just 2 stars. And then there's also floor division, which returns the quotient of the division without the remainder. So 10 divided by 3 would just give you 3.
Yeah, and there is a square root thing if you're wondering. But that you have to import stuff to do that, so I'm not going to teach you guys that now. So, yeah. Again, modulus, I mean, you guys should know addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Basic stuff. And exponents. Modulus, basically, if you guys didn't understand that, 10 mod 3, like, 3 goes into 10 3 times, right? That's 9. And then you just subtract 9 from 10, which gives us 1, which is like the remainder of that division. So modulus gives the remainder. And floor division is pretty much like the opposite of modulus. So it just gives us how many times it goes in. So it just rounds down the division into 3.
Just keep in mind the remainder isn't like the decimal point. I got confused at that at first.
Yeah. So we'll do some experimentation, as always, in Replit. So we're going to keep num. We're going to call this one num2. Not with the dot. We're going to call this, we'll do 8. And then we're going to print num plus num2. And that's adding this integer to this integer. And this is not concatenation because these are not strings. If I did this and then did that same thing to 8, that would be concatenation. Then that would print like 58. But because I'm actually adding, like this is like math adding, that should give us 13. There you go. I'm pretty sure you can also add floats to integers as well. I think it returns a float.
You don't have to typecast for this.
It returns a float. But let's say, let's say it was a string. And we wanted this. We're going to add a comment here. We want this to print 13. So how would I make it so that this print statement prints 13? Anybody have any suggestions?
Print 13.
Anybody got suggestions?
Just put 13 in parameters.
No, but like with the addition. You're not supposed to answer this, Eric. Alright. Anybody have suggestions? We have to do something about num2. How would we resolve it? Because if we run this right now, it's not going to work. Yeah. So,
you guys should know this. Someone answer it.
Yeah, somebody answer. We don't want to...
Andrew, answer it. I'm calling on you.
Dang, alright. Andrew just got put on the spot. Yeah, Siraj got it right. You can do that. You can do what Siraj said. That works. Or, usually what I like to put it in the print statement because I'm lazy. That basically just converts num2, which is a string, into the integer format. So now it should print 13. And there you go. That's why typecasting is useful, because sometimes you just want it to be in the right format. That's addition. And we'll do some modulus examples. So, let's see, 25 mod 3. Anybody want to give me what this will print? Anybody want to tell me? Anybody good at math? Let's tell me what this will give us. Type in the chat, please. Like, this is a pretty, not that important, but it's a pretty important concept. Modulus. Used sometimes in competitive. Yeah, 1. Siraj is correct. Should print us 1. Because 3 times 8 is 24. Right? That's the biggest number, biggest multiple of 3 that can go into 25. And then you just subtract that from 25 and you get 1. So I hope everyone understood. We should do one more modulus example. So let's do 43 mod 6. Well, that gave us... Actually, we already did that.
1.
5. Yeah, it's 1, but... What about 5? 43 mod 5.
3.
Eric, you're not supposed to answer. You already know this stuff, dude.
I don't. I'm just doing it in my head.
Abner is right. Yeah, 3 because 5 can go into 43 8 times, and then that's 40. So subtract that from 43, you get 3. So if you run this, you get 3. And we'll do some floor division. So what if instead of this, I did that? Oh, oops. Yeah, that will give us 8 because, like, as I said, 5 goes into 43 8 times. What if I change this to 43? That'll give us 1. And if I did something bigger, 68, what will that give us? Or 63, I didn't even see that. Yeah, it does give us 0. Something interesting to notice here, and this is pretty important, modulus is used a lot to determine if a number is odd or even. Because if you mod something by 2, like, what will that give me? Somebody answer. What will that give me? 0, right? Right, it gives us 0. But if it was an odd number, like 7, what will that give us? 1, right? That's how you differentiate if it's odd or even. With conditional, which we'll teach later, but...
And just one more thing, I know that, like, let's say you have, like, a float, x equals 3.14, right? And you don't want the decimal. You can also typecast that to an int, which then it would only give you 3.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Pi is 3.14, and then we'll print, and then int pi. So that just typecasted pi into int, which kind of just gets rid of the decimals. So that's just 3. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. Yeah, and everything else you guys should be pretty familiar with. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys all did, like, 3rd grade math. This is easy, basic stuff. So everybody good, or anybody have any questions? If you guys are good, type done in the chat. And if you guys aren't, ask a question. Looks like we're gonna go overtime a little bit. We still have more to go over. Alright, we got 5 dones. And that's like a little more than half, so we need more people to say done. Tyler's done. Alright. We need Daniel. We need... Oh, Emil's also done, so... Yeah. We're waiting. Yeah. Daniel, are you good? Or you need help? Or you got Daniel? Alright, he's good. Alright, we'll go on. So, this is reading input. And this is a hard part. This is where Python gets a little fun for people. Because you get a read input. So this function, it's a function because it has parentheses. It allows for the Python script that you write to read a user's input. That's what it's called input. And the syntax for this is input and then whatever you want to ask them. So like for this, I did input and then enter a number. And that's kind of like prompting the user to like enter a number. And then the input function prompts the user for input, right? And then it will not continue the rest of the program until the input is given. And then the input, this is pretty important, the input that you give is automatically casted as a string. So here, we have an example. So we ask the user for enter your favorite food. So that file right there, that doesn't exist. That doesn't pop up. And then that, I type in, PHO. And then I press enter. It takes that. And then next thing it types is, or prints is, enter your name. And then I enter my name. Press enter. And then with concatenation, it prints my name, Daeyong, and then apostrophe S. Favorite food is, and then pho, and then period. So I'll demonstrate that.
And you can also set an input as a variable too if you wish to.
Yeah, so we'll do something. We'll do variables. So give me a variable name, guys. I'm bored. Inspire me. Any good variable names? Nobody?
X.
Nobody has ideas for variable names?
X.
No, it's lame. Sure, okay. Camel case, nice. Again, camel casing, very important. Doug Bowser, sure. And then we're gonna do input. And you guys don't have to put anything in the parentheses. But yeah, we'll demonstrate that for now. And then we'll just print Doug Bowser. So if you run this program, the program right now is asking us to give out inputs. So I'll print thanks Aiden for giving us the input. And then if you press enter from here, it should print Doug Bowser, which now becomes thanks Aiden for giving us the input because that's what we set the variable as. And now we'll prompt user for something. So in here we're gonna type a string and we're gonna enter a message. So that basically, or we can make it fancy and do a semicolon space. So now it's gonna actually, type that out in the debug console, and then prompting us for an input. And we're gonna type in hello world. I messed that up. And then because that's gonna be assigned to Doug Bowser, it prints hello world. And let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see. Enter a number. And then we're just gonna change this to, num1. And then we're gonna also put this one, num2 equals input, enter another number. Oh, no. It's not good. Alright, and then we're gonna print num1 plus num2. So if I run this program, it pauses here, enter a number. So we're gonna enter 5, and then another number 6. So if I press enter, what do you think the output will be, guys? And Eric, you swear, I swear, if you answer, I'm gonna kick you out of the chat.
Literally anyone can do this.
56, right?
You're right, Abner. Correct.
Yeah, 56 because remember, input automatically casts to a string. So what is this called when we add two strings together? The PPAP man, concatenation, right? It's literally just sticking two things together. That's what we're doing here because these are both concatenation. So these are just adding two strings together, and that's why it's concatenation, and that's why you print 56 because 5, 6. But how would we fix this so that it prints 11, the actual sum of 5 and 6? There are a few ways to do this, but there's a way I prefer how to do it. Anybody got suggestions? And if you guys do, please type in the chat.
That's one way, Siraj.
Yeah, you can do that. We'll do that right now. So we can cast it into an integer, like Siraj suggested. Oops. Oh my, the constant Discord notifications. Alright, and then this will print, you have to give input. And that prints 11. Or, the method I prefer is you just cast it. Oh, voice crack. Just cast it from the beginning. So you cast from the beginning like this. So you're casting into input, and then you're just gonna do num1 plus num2. So basically here we take the number at 5. We cast it into integer. So now number 1 has the integer value of 5. Same for number 6, but instead it has 6. And then when you run this, it gives us 11. So that's pretty cool. That's how you use input. And input, I like it a lot because it makes your programs customizable and very cool. Or you can just do it directly in the print statement. You can just do print and then input. Oh my gosh, I am terrible at typing. I cannot type, guys. I'm sorry. And then we're not gonna prompt because we're lazy. It's prompting us, so we're just gonna type hi and then print hi. You guys can do that too. So, yeah, Did everybody understand that? How to read inputs? And if somebody didn't, please ask questions because we don't want anybody to be confused. But if you understand it, please type down in the chat as always. Okay. That's one person. That's two people. 3 people.
I mean, this is way simpler than Java, because in Java, like, you're gonna have to like import stuff and then
Yeah.
scanners.
All right, Daniel's done. All right, who needs more time? Aiden. Who else? Tyler. Yeah, Tyler's done. Yeah, I think Aiden, are you good? Or you got a question?
I had a question.
Yeah.
It's kind of struck with something else, but are you able to, like, if you want to
Your audio is cutting.
change, like, multiple variables, are you able to change multiple variables at once to integers?
I don't believe so. I never did that, and that I don't think you ever would need to do that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if integer has different, like, you can put in multiple parameters for that, but you can always test that out if you want to.
Aside from that, I'm done.
I mean, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, now we just did reading input, so we're just gonna go on now. Oh, look, we're done. So, anybody have any questions? Last minute questions about anything we did, starting all the way from print statements, debug console, all the way to reading input, to typecasting, math operations, concatenation, variable data types, anything? Do you guys all understand everything we taught us? Or we taught you guys? I said us. My brain's not working today, okay?
It never works.
Alright, shut up, Eric. Alright. Okay, Daniel, why is everybody bullying me, okay? This is not fair. Okay, I think everybody's good. Nobody has some questions, so don't leave yet. Okay. Thank you, Daniel, appreciate that. So, this is your homework, and both homework and project, they're both completely optional. You guys don't have to do it. If you're not interested in coding, or if you don't want to, do it, it's fine. We're not offended if you don't do it. But I personally, from personal experience, the best way to learn coding is through experience, right? So you have to get as much experience as possible. Just have fun with it, experiment, play around. And if you ever run into a problem, you can always use this web.